Yeah? You're gonna have to excuse some babbling in the background of this video because someone doesn't want to sleep today. So this time last year I was feeling really frustrated. I was really uncomfortable. I was overdue in my pregnancy and I was just ready. Yes, ready for it to be over. I went full term and then I was, getting pestered by people to, let them know the news or getting texts nearly every half hour or so. I ended up, setting my phone to the side or, blocking numbers for a while because it was so frustrating with people with the very best intentions and, all the love in the world, wanting to know some really exciting news, but there was nothing to give them. And it was really frustrating for me because I was wanting this baby to come and everyone was pestering me and I felt like it was stressing me out a bit, and that's not really helpful when it comes to wanting to go into labour. You need to kind of be in a good relaxed frame of mind. So yeah, that wasn't very helpful, but like I said, people were very well-meaning at the time. So I was overdue and I had gone into my midwifery unit and I was, asking all sorts of help. What can I do to bring labour on? What can I do to make this actually happen? And I had I think 3 sweeps, I can't remember exactly, at least 2 anyway. And if you don't know what a sweep is really where the midwife puts fingers around the opening of the womb to try and release hormones that are sort of resting there ready to let the womb open up and dilate and everything. So I had that 3 times, didn't quite bring on labour for me. I also had a bit of reflexology both in the hospital and privately, which is supposed to help bring on labour when they put pressure on certain points and all of that. And hey, you see mommy in the camera? As well as that, I was trying all sorts of other things that, people were recommending, old wives' tales and things like that, like eat a lot of pineapple. Love pineapple, was eating a lot of pineapple because of that. I was out and I was walking a lot. I was on my birthing ball bouncing, trying to get baby into position, and he was in a good position. It was just, not really bringing on the labour. Things like clary sage. I had a couple of bath bombs with clary sage. I had some incense, essential oils burning and stuff that were clary sage. That's meant to be good for bringing on labour. What else? Oh, hot curry. Now my husband will probably argue that I didn't have a hot enough curry, but I had hotter than I'm used to, and I think, that's probably enough. I don't know. But it didn't bring on labour. None of it did. In the end, I was really frustrated. I had to go in to be induced, and I really wasn't keen on it. I would rather have gone naturally if I could, but it's what my body needed. And to be fair, I was feeling contractions, and I use that word because that's the most common word that people use for them. What I was using was surges, but that's all to do with hypnobirthing, which I'll talk about in a different video, because that's a practice that I was going through for my birth. So I was feeling surges, contractions, in regular patterns for about a week or so, but nothing really coming to any actual labour. I was feeling, people would say it was Braxton Hicks, but it was very like the surges that I was feeling during labour when it came to it. So I went in, I had to be induced. Now what that means is they insert a pessary, and it's pretty much like a little tab that has, I want to say chemical, it's probably a hormone. You can look into that yourself and find out. But they insert that, and that stimulates the opening of the womb to open, I suppose, to dilate and for labour to kick into place. And they said it could take up to 24 hours for it to kick in, and sometimes people need a second pessary as well to really get things going. But I guess because my body had already been trying to get into labour, it just needed a bit of a kickstart. I suppose like a jump start to the car, just get the engine going really. So within an hour of having my pessary in, I was having my contractions, having surges, and I was feeling it. And it was such a relief to be in that phase. And this is me in the induction ward a year ago. Would have been 14 days overdue, and this would have been probably around 2-3 in the afternoon, and baby wasn't born until 1:30 the next morning. So I went to 15 days overdue, but only just. So a few of the things that I didn't like about the whole induction process was I was trying to do the hypnobirthing thing that I mentioned, and I didn't really feel like I had the proper space to do that because you were in a small ward, several beds, all sectioned off by curtains, and you could hear what all the other women were going through, what they were doing in each of the other beds, and there was a lot of shouting and screaming and moaning and groaning and swearing too, and that wasn't really the most ideal for me when I was trying to stay calm and relax and focus on my hypnobirthing. But that was one downside to it. Another one was when I had arrived, they had provided a meal for me, which was very kind, very nice, because you don't know when you're going to eat next in the middle of the whole labour process. But something about that food just didn't go down well with me at all, and I threw it all back up again about 2 hours later. I don't know whether that was to do with just being in labour, or whether it was being induced, or whether it was just terrible hospital food. Let me just say, you can get really good hospital food as well, but that wasn't a great experience for me. Yeah, I was delighted, however, to be able to go to the birthing room where I could get into a pool and go through the rest of my labour, and that was fantastic, and it was all very straightforward after that. And I will tell you that story another time about the actual birthing bit. But yeah, our young'un was born, it was 11 hours later, but with active labour happening for 4 hours. So it was a lot of time to sort of sitting around waiting for, you know, more regular surges and all of that there, and trying to focus on my whole hypnobirthing thing while all this other noise is going on and things like that. But I was delighted that I had gone so quickly, because if I hadn't, my husband would have been sent home and I would have had to continue going through things on my own until he could come back the next morning. But because I'd gone into active labour early enough, he was able to come with me into doing the whole active labour thing. So there you go. So I want to hear your story. For your children, whether you're a man or a woman, were they early or late? Was there anxiety? Was there stress about the whole thing? Were they even on time? Was that stressful too? I want to hear your stories. Have you ever been induced? Have you ever had to go into really early labour, or maybe there's been an emergency C-section or something like that? Tell me your stories. You can find my details in the description or on my website, www.weejowee.com. But be sure to follow all of my socials, as well as subscribing on YouTube. Thanks for watching, folks. Sectioned off by curtains. Would you shush? Shush?